Hey, so today I'm going to talk to you about the immune system for a couple different reasons. First, because COVID is still a thing and it's still around, and protecting yourself and having a healthy immune system is always a good thing to try to do. And two, because my son came home with a cold this week. We know it's a cold because we know exactly where we got it. They've been tested for COVID and it shows up exactly like a cold. He was actually mostly fine, a little bit stuffy. He didn't sleep a little bit the first night. He was kind of tossing and turning, but overall he was okay. I've actually been fine for the most part. My poor husband, it has knocked him on his ass. He is currently in bed trying to sleep. He was up all night coughing and his nose is bleeding and he's an absolute mess, and he's been that way for 2 days. So I'm really happy that I am not that way. And I think partially, or I hope at least partially, that's because of all the things that I try to do almost always to, especially during cold and flu season, to work on my immune system. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today and share with you some of the things that I do. So first, vitamin D. I think that that's really important. I created a whole separate video on that, so please check that out if you haven't already. But try to get out in the sun for at least 20 to 30 minutes every day. More if you can, that would be minimum. If for whatever reason you really can't do that, definitely supplement, because vitamin D is always great for your immune system. Same thing with vitamin C. However, if you're taking a prenatal, definitely check it. There's probably enough vitamin C. One of the things that you really don't want to oversupplement is with vitamin C. It's one of the things that if you're trying to give yourself an abortion, they say to bump up your dose of vitamin C. So definitely don't overdo it with that. Check your prenatal though, make sure that it has a good amount. And if it does, great. You can obviously always use other natural methods like eating oranges and that kind of thing. Here are a couple other things that I usually keep in my back pocket. First, something called Propolis. Propolis is this really amazing thing from Beekeeper's Naturals. They're located in Canada. It's based around honey. It's really sweet. You just spritz it in your throat a couple times. You could do it a few times a day. And that is supposed to be amazing at keeping your immune system really healthy. I actually gave this to a number of people last year as Christmas gifts. I think it's an awesome thing for Christmas gifts. It's perfect timing. Another thing that I actually also get and use from the company on a somewhat regular basis is called Bee Powered Superfood Honey. It has some really great things in it. They make it with royal jelly, bee pollen, and there's propolis in it. They suggest 1 teaspoon a day. Sometimes I go a little bit overboard with it. It's also supposed to be really good for brain health, but I know it also has great properties to keep your immune system up. So that's one of the other things that I do on a fairly regular basis. Another thing that's great in general as far as protecting your body is antioxidants. So in my smoothie in the morning, I usually put in some acai packets, which have a good amount of antioxidants, as well as raspberries or blueberries. All of those really help keep your immune system going and do a lot of great things in your body. I also actually take a supplement. The primary reason I supplement with this, and I take something called Pomegranate Plus from Pure Encapsulations. I do this primarily though because it was recommended specifically for my gut. When I got my gut analyzed, I could definitely use more of this. So that's one of the reasons I also bump up my antioxidant use. I just know based on a test that it could definitely be useful. Now, I just finished my 12th week of pregnancy, and one of my favorite pregnancy books is called The Mama Natural Week by Week Guide to Pregnancy and Childbirth. I found it really helpful during my first pregnancy, so I've been kind of using it as a go-to. I haven't really been reading it cover to cover this time, but it's got some really great resources. And week 12 happens to be the immune system, which oddly enough, last time I was pregnant, I was very sick week 12. This time around, It is week 12, and luckily I have skirted by the sickness that at least is going around my house. So she's got a couple of really great recipes. I'm going to leave a few, at least versions of them, in the notes section so you can check them out. But one of the things that I just made for my husband today is blueberry lemon ginger honey tea. Ginger is really great and has some great properties for sickness. So you can use ginger tea bags. That's what she recommends. However, I definitely recommend using fresh ginger. My husband is not the biggest fan of ginger in general. So I still made it. I just didn't steep the ginger in water as much as I usually would. The blueberries, I use frozen. I definitely recommend for blueberries getting organic, just because blueberries are one of the foods that will absorb a lot of the pesticides. So definitely try to use blueberries, organic blueberries. I will say it was a little bit messy, but definitely worth it. It was absolutely delicious. I can kind of show you a version. I put it in a glass so you can kind of see, but it's basically like blueberry extract with some ginger, honey, and lemon. And he loved it. I think it's delicious, so that's great. Another thing that I just tried, also from the book, is peppermint coconut bark. Coconut oil in general has really great antibacterial properties, so it's great at fighting any infection or anything that you really don't want in your body. So it was really easy to make. It's basically coconut oil, peppermint extract, and honey. You can make it pretty quickly. The one thing that I did incorrectly that I will warn you about is, in general, the coconut oil, because it's cooler outside, was not really very melty. So I decided to melt it instead and then mix everything. The problem with that was that the heat separated the oil from the extract from the honey. So then when I went to go cool it, it separated out too much. So all of the honey was on the bottom. Luckily, the peppermint extract mixed really well with the coconut oil, so I could still get the same kind of taste. But what I would recommend if you're going to try this is to make sure that you do not melt the coconut oil and just kind of mix it up until it's sort of a paste, and then mix the ingredients together. But that tastes delicious. I'll show you kind of a small piece of what I made, but it's actually quite good. Now, the next two things that I'm going to mention are immune boosters. Now, these are primarily good for colds, not the flu. Some recent research suggests that pregnant women's immune systems overreact to the flu. So if you take an immune booster, it very well might make it worse. So if you know you have the flu, you definitely don't want to be doing these things, at least not during your pregnancy. If you're not pregnant, have at it. But one thing which is all the rage is elderberry syrup. You very well may have heard of it. I have made my own before. I actually still have some left from last year. I need to find out if it's still supposed to be good, though it's been in the fridge for a year, so hopefully it's fine. If I end up making more, I'm definitely going to make a video about it. So you can make your own, or you can buy it. Sometimes it is a little bit more expensive to get, but it's supposed to be great. The other thing that is actually awesome for your immune system is called Monolaurin. They're kind of like these little pellets, so they're actually also really great for kids to take. Most kids can swallow them. It can be like the first pill that they're taking, but it's a really great boost for your immune system. Both elderberry syrup and monolaurin can be taken regularly throughout the day, so 3 to 4 times a day would be fine. And you can use it as both a preventative measure and also once a cold starts. Again, not necessarily once you're pregnant if you get the flu, but if you have a cold, you can definitely be taking it throughout the day. Now, other general things that I would say try to do as much of the time, all the time. Generally eat pretty healthy, so stay away from sugar and vegetable oils, especially while you're sick too, because the bacteria can feed on unhealthy things. Even though I know when you're sick, you really don't want to be eating healthy, it does really help you get better faster. Another thing is to try to eliminate gluten. Usually when people remove gluten from their diet, and I am definitely one of these people, where as soon as I did that, my immune system improved amazingly well. So that is one of the things that does tend to improve your immune system. So those are my super quick immune boosting tips. If there's anything that you do that really works for you, please share them in the comments so we can benefit from that as well. I'd love to hear your suggestions. And that's it. So if you like this video, hit like. If you want to get more of these fun tips, please subscribe. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.